I helped my wife become head of the Chamber of Commerce, but she groomed the new young man into her first secretary. After the Chamber of Commerce banquet, the secretary posted on social media, "Whose good secretary's trophy is made of pure gold?" Oh, turns out it's from our head Victoria's place. "Head Victoria, I'll always be your first secretary." The accompanying picture showed him holding the trophy and wrapping his arm around my wife's waist, his clearly defined knuckles pressing against her. I commented below, "Looks like I should step aside." My wife called, "Honey, it's just a young man's vanity. Why bother arguing with him? He was scared stiff after seeing your comment, crying and wanting to kneel and beg for your forgiveness. I paid a high price for that vintage watch you admired. Be a good husband. Delete the comment, okay?" Refreshing my social media feed again, an update visible only to me popped up. "The first secretary will never yield to power and influence." Fist emojis. I chuckled. My new pig farm still needed hands to feed the pigs. I thought the first secretary would be quite suitable. Chapter 1. I didn't delete the comment. Half an hour later, my wife, Victoria Smith, called again. Her tone was no longer the coaxing one from before. "Sincere Clark, that young man only got recognition for the first time and just wanted to show off. Do you really need to make such a fuss and demand an explanation? Besides, how much is a trophy worth? It's not even as much as a tie you buy on a whim. Why make things so awkward for me, awkward for her?" The Chamber of Commerce secretary's work account was connected to thousands of business owners in the province. Among them were old family friends who had close ties with the Clark family business. For a secretary to brazenly post, claiming to be from the head's home, anyone with eyes could see they were having an affair. Where did that leave me? The legitimate spouse? I wasn't going to back down either. Not necessary? Your first secretary is practically walking all over me. Why should I put up with it? Didn't he say he was going to come and kneel for forgiveness? Where is he? On the other end of the phone, Secretary Daniel Miller's crying started to build. "Head Victoria, it's all my fault for making Mr. Clark angry. Please let me go to him and beg for forgiveness on my knees. As long as Mr. Clark calms down, I'm willing to do it, even if I break my legs kneeling." Victoria Smith could no longer suppress her emotions. "Sincere Clark, Daniel Miller has been at the chamber for 6 months, working hard without complaint every day. Everyone at the chamber, from top to bottom, praises him for being dedicated and hardworking. It's the end of the year. What's wrong with me, the head of the Chamber of Commerce, recognizing an outstanding employee? Or is it that the decisive and formidable Mr. Clark just enjoys taking pleasure in a young man with no power or background?" I was a little surprised. My marriage with Victoria Smith began out of the need for family interests to be bound together. Spending day and night together, feelings developed over time. Furthermore, Victoria Smith's looks were no less striking than a movie star's. I admitted I loved her. She had also said that marrying the eldest son of the Clark family was a blessing from her previous life, and that she would never look at another man again. But this time, Victoria Smith was actually losing her temper at me over a man. So this was very bad. Social media was much livelier than usual. With the socialites and young elites, I usually kept in check, seizing the opportunity to mock. The first secretary's arm is truly wrapped tight. The woman someone tied down with family shares as a betrothal gift back then must be panicking now. I always thought Head Victoria was a naturally cold beauty, but it turns out she just hadn't met someone who made her heart flutter before. "Don't cry, Uncle Sincere, your wife, Head Victoria, just committed a mistake any woman in the world might make. Just bear with it, and it'll pass. Okay, go first secretary. Charge bravely once you become Head Victoria's husband. Make sure to notify me. The wedding gift money is ready." With people backing him, Daniel Miller was very bold. Not only did he change his nickname to Head Victoria's first secretary, but he also posted an update visible only to me. "The first secretary will never yield to power and influence." Fist emojis. It came with a selfie taken from the passenger seat, and Victoria Smith's reflection was clearly visible in the corner of the car window. Victoria Smith had once said that her passenger seat would forever be exclusively for her husband. So what did that make Daniel Miller, now sitting in the passenger seat? Was he her little husband? My fingertips hammered heavily on the desk, anger spreading unchecked in my heart. My secretary, Olivia Forrester, pushed the door open and entered. "Mr. Clark, you called for me?" I tossed her the Maybach keys. "The car's yours. Let's take a picture with me holding you for a social media post." Olivia Forrester understood perfectly. I put my palm on her waist, took a few photos that sparked imagination, and then posted them on social media. "Whose good secretary's reward is a luxury car? Oh, turns out it's from our CEO's place, CEO. I'll always be your first secretary soon." Victoria Smith came charging in to demand an explanation. She kicked open my office door, strode over, grabbed me, her eyes terrifying. "Sincere Clark, do you find this amusing?" "Give me an explanation," I frowned, displeased. "Head Victoria, isn't this all about motivating outstanding employees? If you can give your secretary a golden trophy, why can't I give mine a luxury car?" Victoria Smith's grip tightened. "Sincere Clark, you know I'm not looking for that explanation." I forcefully pulled my hand free from her grip. "You know I, Sincere Clark, never explain myself to irrelevant people." Victoria Smith froze for a few seconds, then rushed out the door. That night, Victoria Smith, who was always punctual, didn't come home. I received a video message from my best friend, Charles Walker. "Sincere, look, your house is about to be stolen, Chapter 2. Charles Walker sent a video clip. In the dimly lit private room, Victoria Smith leaned lazily on the sofa, watching Daniel Miller and her friends play dice with a doting expression. "Oh no, I lost again. But I have a low alcohol tolerance. If I drink any more, I'll be drunk. Can I not drink?" Daniel Miller's face was flushed red, but Victoria Smith's friends weren't planning to let him off the hook. "Young Daniel, you gambled and lost. You have to drink. Can someone drink for me? I really can't drink anymore. If you don't kiss me, your sister here will drink it for you." Daniel Miller became unhappy, shaking Victoria Smith's leg with both hands. "Head Victoria, your secretary is being bullied by your friends. Please tell them to stop." Victoria Smith actually intervened. "You guys are being too mean, picking on a young man. I'll drink this glass for him after speaking." She took the wine glass in front of Daniel Miller and downed it in one gulp. "Hey, Head Victoria, that was my glass." My face was taut. Victoria Smith was a germaphobe. She would never touch anything someone else had drunk from. It seemed Daniel Miller had cured her years of germophobia. She didn't even frown as she drained Daniel Miller's glass. What made my anger burn even hotter was that Victoria Smith glanced at the camera a few times. She clearly knew Charles Walker was filming and could guess the video would soon be sent to me. But she still openly flirted and acted intimately with Daniel Miller. Her only goal was to get back at me. My jaw clenched tightly, grinding my teeth. Growing up as Sincere Clark, I had always been the one to put pressure on others. When had I ever suffered such indignity? I grabbed my jacket, about to leave. Charles Walker sent another message. "Sincere, are you really not coming to handle Victoria Smith?" He actually gave that vintage watch to Daniel Miller. I heard it's worth $14 million. Instantly I calmed down. If I just charged over like that, wouldn't I be playing right into Victoria Smith's hands? Her wanting revenge on me, wasn't it just to see me furious and losing my mind over her, or crying and begging her to end her extramarital affair with Daniel Miller? But I would do the opposite of what she wanted. As for Daniel Miller, I would make him truly and deeply understand what a pipe dream and heartbreak felt like. I called Olivia Forrester. Junue Hotel, room 1688. The first secretary always serves the CEO. Half an hour later, Olivia Forrester appeared at the Junue Hotel, arm in arm with me. The Junue Hotel was an asset of the Smith family. The hotel manager was stunned to see the intimate way Olivia Forrester and I behaved. "Liv, you look tired. Let me carry you up." Naturally, I picked Olivia Forrester up in a princess carry and entered the elevator. Charles Walker called precisely at this moment, his voice full of excitement. "Sincere, let me tell you, that scene just now was truly spectacular. Apparently, when Victoria Smith answered the phone and heard that Olivia Forrester and I were at a hotel together, her face instantly turned ashen, and her eyes went red as if they could shoot fire. She snatched a wine bottle from the table, smashed it with a crash, and was about to rush out the door with the broken neck of the bottle. Seeing this, everyone in the private room was frozen stiff and dared not move, but that Daniel Miller, thinking too highly of himself, ran in front of Victoria Smith to block her, saying something like, "Head Victoria, you've lost control now. Something bad will definitely happen if you go. I won't let you go." Victoria Smith's veins bulged, and she roared at him to get lost. Daniel Miller simply didn't listen, holding on to Victoria Smith's waist to stop her from leaving. Victoria Smith kicked him down to the ground. Daniel Miller's hands and legs, wherever they touched the ground, were completely covered in glass shards. Charles Walker clicked his tongue a few times. It was truly a sight. As Charles Walker was rambling, Olivia Forrester snatched my phone and hung up. "Mr. Clark, the two of us just sitting here dressed won't get revenge on certain someone." Before I could react, Olivia Forrester pushed me onto the bed. The door banged open, kicked in from the outside. "What are you doing, Chapter 3? Victoria Smith was boiling with rage. She rushed in, pulled Olivia Forrester away, and slapped her face. "Are you tired of living? How dare you touch my man? She did what's it to you?" I sat up, speaking grumpily. "Head Victoria, instead of properly keeping your good secretary company in the private room, what kind of thing is it to come over and ruin my fun?" Victoria Smith was shocked by my attitude. As if venting her frustration, she swept the items on the table to the floor. Victoria Smith gritted her teeth and said, "Sincere Clark, let's talk." I waved my hand, signaling Olivia Forrester to leave. After giving Victoria Smith a pointed glance, she closed the door and left. I replied, "How do you want to talk?" Victoria Smith quickly explained, "Honey, Daniel Miller and I are completely innocent. There's nothing going on. That trophy was just because his mother was sick in the hospital, and his family needed money. I didn't want to hurt his pride, so I gave it to him like that. As for the watch, I just let him try it on. I never intended to give it to him," I scoffed. "Do you think I care about material things like that? You were leaning against him, you let him sit in the passenger seat, drank from his glass. Why, no explanation for these things." Watching Victoria Smith's flustered expression, my gut feeling told me she had a physical attraction to Daniel Miller. For so many years, no matter the occasion, she had always maintained a social distance from the opposite sex, and there was never any intimate behavior like hugging. To outsiders, she was an ice queen. If it wasn't for her tacit permission and indulgence, Daniel Miller would never have posted those 2 social media updates. She also wouldn't have openly taken him to meet her close friends. At the end of the video, when Daniel Miller threw himself into Victoria Smith's arms, the burning smile on her face flashed clearly before my eyes again. Even in the year Victoria Smith loved me the most, I had never seen such a passionate smile. But now Victoria Smith was kneeling by the bed, stroking my hand, looking utterly like a lost puppy. "Honey, I'm sorry, I was wrong." This time I really lost my sense of boundaries and went too far. Do you know? The moment I heard you and Olivia Forrester came to the hotel, I almost fainted. On the way here, my heart was in my throat, terrified that if I arrived a moment too late, I would lose you completely. Her eyes were red-rimmed, and her voice was tight. "Honey, I truly know I was wrong. I promise I will never touch another man again. Let's make up, okay?" Seeing Victoria Smith look so pathetic, my heart softened momentarily. "I want you to tell Daniel Miller right now that he's fired." Victoria Smith didn't hesitate and did as told. The next second, Daniel Miller called via video. Victoria Smith declined, and he sent several consecutive voice messages. "Head Victoria, why are you suddenly firing me? Is there something I didn't do well enough? Please tell me, okay? I promise to change. I'll change until you're satisfied. Is it because I accepted the watch from you and made Mr. Clark angry? Is that right? I'll return the watch to the Chamber of Commerce office right now. Someone like me doesn't deserve to wear such an expensive watch. I deserve to die, Head Victoria. Please say something. I'm so scared when you're like this." You know about me. My family is poor, my parents are sick, and I have a younger brother in school. I can't lose this job." Victoria Smith didn't continue playing the messages. Instead, she blocked Daniel Miller on social media. Immediately after, she deleted his phone number and all other contact methods across social media platforms, all while I watched. "Honey, I swear I will only love you in this life. If I break this promise, may I be struck by lightning." Victoria Smith looked at me hopefully. "Honey, can we go back to how we were?" I looked at her silently, weighing things in my mind. My marriage with Victoria Smith had long become inseparable as the interests of the Smith and Clark families intertwined. If we were truly to separate, it would only be a lose-lose situation. For a businessman, this was a choice to be made only as a last resort. Therefore, as long as Victoria Smith was willing to back down, I was willing to turn back. I nodded. Last chance. In an instant, Victoria Smith was grinning from ear to ear. She proactively posted a message expressing her love for me on social media, accompanied by intimate photos, bringing an end to this farce. Chapter 4. The next day, when Daniel Miller went to the Chamber of Commerce despite his injuries, he found he had been fired. The security guards blocked him at the door. In the cold wind, he anxiously waited for Victoria Smith. Finally, as dusk approached, Victoria Smith's car appeared. His heart was full of joy, as if his savior had descended from heaven. "Head Victoria, did you know I was waiting for you? Is that why you rushed over?" Victoria Smith ignored him, opened the passenger door, and led me out by the hand. Daniel Miller rushed over, trying to grab Victoria Smith's hand. Victoria Smith frowned and warned, "Don't touch me." Daniel Miller stopped abruptly, pleading from about a meter away. "Head Victoria, please, please don't fire me. You know my mother is still in the hospital. I really need this job." Victoria Smith was unmoved. She didn't even spare him a glance, holding my hand and walking towards the Chamber of Commerce. Daniel Miller dropped to his knees with a thump. He grabbed Victoria Smith's feet. "Head Victoria, you said you would take care of me for life. You can't break your promise." Victoria Smith kicked him over with one foot. "Someone like you? Do you even qualify?" Daniel Miller, red-eyed, struggled to get up, then shuffled on his knees towards my feet. "Mr. Clark, I'm sorry I offended you before. Please, in your magnanimity, don't hold it against a petty person like me. Please beg Head Victoria on my behalf, don't drive me away." Yesterday, Charles Walker said Daniel Miller barely had any good skin left after being stabbed by glass shards, especially his knees, where sharp pieces of glass had directly pierced his flesh, requiring over a dozen stitches at the hospital. Now, his white trousers were stained blood red. He must have reopened his wounds. I'm a bit squeamish about blood, and for a moment I felt dizzy and my vision blurred. I shook off Victoria Smith's hand and said coldly, "It's too cold. I'll go inside first." I walked straight into the Chamber of Commerce and sat behind the glass door watching them. I saw Victoria Smith beckon to the security guards at the door and commanded, "Throw this lunatic out. As far away as possible, I warn you. Don't touch me with your dirty hands." "Ah, Head Victoria, my legs hurt so much." Victoria Smith turned a deaf ear, not even looking back. Behind her, Daniel Miller was being carried by the security guards, one holding his head and the other his feet, walking towards the end of the road. Chapter 5. I thought things would end like this. Unexpectedly, at the Chamber of Commerce General Assembly a few days later, the new secretary came to me for help. Her eyebrows were twisted into a knot. "Mr. Clark, the assembly is about to start." The head took a call and stepped out, but hasn't come back, and I can't reach her at all. "Do you have a way to contact her?" I tried calling Victoria Smith. As expected, her phone was off. The Chamber of Commerce organizes a General Assembly every 3 years, and all members must attend. Previous heads of the chamber had all attached great importance to this event. This year was Victoria Smith's first term as head. There had already been some murmurs because she took office without sufficient qualifications. If she were to skip this assembly without reason, not only would it give people cause to gossip, but there was also a chance the members would organize to impeach her. The venue was packed solid, and there was less than 20 minutes until the assembly began. While thinking up strategies to buy time, I arranged for Olivia Forrester to take people to find Victoria Smith. My expression was displeased. I sent her a message. Victoria Smith, you better have a compelling reason for pulling a disappearing act. With less than 10 minutes before the assembly, Victoria Smith finally called. Sincere Clark, you ruthless wolf, I did everything you said. I fired Daniel and deleted all contact with him, yet you still had someone break his legs, so Daniel Miller was the reason for her recklessness. I scoffed. Victoria Smith, explain yourself clearly. What do you mean I had someone break his legs? Last night, Daniel was brutally beaten by a group of people, suffering comminuted fractures in both legs. What kind of person are you, Sincere Clark? You're famously known as a ruthless wolf in the industry. Anyone who dares to stand in your way inevitably ends up bankrupt. Daniel has deep feelings for me, and you can't tolerate even a speck of sand in your eye. How could you possibly tolerate him? So you had to destroy him, right? The Clark and Smith families were a community of interests. If the Smith family was criticized, the Clark family wouldn't fare well either. So I needed her to rush over and host the assembly now. Settling the score tomorrow wouldn't be too late. I gritted my teeth. Victoria Smith, the assembly is about to start. You must get here immediately. Victoria Smith sneered. How is it? Has the assembly venue turned into chaos? It's not impossible for me to come over, but you have to apologize to Daniel right now, threatening me. I patiently asked again. Victoria Smith, I'm asking you one last time, are you coming or not? If you don't apologize, how can I come? Besides, isn't Mr. Clark always strategic and planning effortlessly? I believe this assembly will go fine even without me. I hung up the phone with a snap. I had elevated Victoria Smith to the position of head of the chamber. Today, I could also unilaterally remove her from office. I took the speech manuscript handed to me by the secretary. A few minutes later, I addressed the assembly in my capacity as the new head. The applause from the audience was like thunder. Victoria Smith, since you know my reputation in the industry, you have repeatedly challenged my bottom line. You've angered the Black Wolf. You, the Smith family, and Daniel Miller. I won't let any of you off the hook. Chapter 6. Having just taken over the chamber, many matters needed to be redefined. I also had to consider the company side, so I didn't have time to deal with Victoria Smith for a while. A week later, Victoria Smith appeared at the Chamber of Commerce, but no one paid her any attention. Victoria Smith felt something was very wrong. She pushed open the head's office door and found that the nameplate on the desk, which bore her name as head, had been replaced. It now read Sincere Clark. Honey, why are you here? The new secretary, Ivy Hope, was blunt. This is our new head. You have been removed from your position by the chamber. Victoria Smith looked as if she had been struck by lightning, turning pale with shock. Impossible, you must be tricking me. Don't think I don't know. The General Assembly was a mess. Many members lost confidence in the chamber on the spot and said they wanted to withdraw. How could you have dismissed me and elected a new head? I took out 2 official documents and threw them in front of her. See for yourself. The first is your notice of removal from office, and the second is my appointment letter. Due to Victoria Smith's unexplained absence, the General Assembly unanimously voted to remove Victoria Smith from the position of head of the chamber. Concurrently, I was elected as the new head by ballot. How could this be? This is different from the information I received. Where did something go wrong? I crossed my arms over my chest, my smile disdainful. Victoria Smith, you really are naive. You believe any hearsay you come across. Victoria Smith looked surprised. What do you mean? I only told the informant I placed at the venue that I didn't want you to be present at the assembly today. As for what he told you, I have no idea. It's precious to know yourself. You were treating a trivial matter as a major command and really thought you were important, didn't you? Victoria Smith became a bit flustered. She had originally thought that her absence from the assembly would definitely throw the scene into chaos. Using this as leverage, she would force me to apologize to Daniel Miller. Then, after a few days, she would step in to handle the matter, appease the members, and save face for herself. It was a plan to kill two birds with one stone. Unfortunately, she miscalculated. With Sincere Clark present, the assembly would definitely proceed smoothly. Victoria Smith, let's get a divorce. The detailed divorce agreement is still being drafted by my lawyer. I'm just giving you notice. Victoria Smith visibly panicked. She pleaded, "Honey, I don't want a divorce. I can't live without you. Daniel Miller and I are completely innocent. We didn't do anything inappropriate. You have to believe us. Daniel Miller's injuries were ultimately caused by you. If I hadn't rushed to stop you and Olivia Forrester from getting a room that day, I wouldn't have pushed him down and caused him to be cut by glass shards. Later, you broke his legs. If he hadn't been rescued by passers-by and sent to the hospital in time, he would have spent the rest of his life in a wheelchair. If he were to sue you for intentional injury based on this, not only would you be facing prison time, but the reputation of both the Clark and Smith families would also be damaged. So everything I did was for you, all for me," said so grandly. But the truth was, I had never laid a hand on Daniel Miller from beginning to end. My gaze was cold. "Is that right? All for me?" Victoria Smith looked somewhat angry. "Sincere Clark, rest assured, I will never agree to this divorce, not even if I die with that." She left emotionally. Good. It saved me the trouble of having the security guards throw her out. Chapter 7. That evening, I returned home. Victoria Smith was busy in the kitchen, wearing an apron. Several dishes were already set on the table. "Honey, you're back. Wash your hands quickly. The soup is almost ready and we can eat." This simple domestic scene used to bring a mist to my eyes. Now, I just found Victoria Smith incredibly hypocritical. I stopped walking. "I'm back for some change of clothes. I'll be staying at the old Clark family estate for a while." The stirring motion in Victoria Smith's hand holding the soup spoon froze. "Honey, did something happen with your parents? Why do you have to go back?" In the 7 or 8 years we were married, I had spent almost all my time with Victoria Smith. I said lightly, "We're getting a divorce. It's not appropriate to live together anymore." Victoria Smith frowned. "Sincere Clark, why won't you believe me? I only took care of him out of guilt. Now he's getting better, and I won't need to contact him anymore." Victoria Smith, whether it's true love or just guilt between you and Daniel Miller, the moment you used the Chamber of Commerce assembly to threaten me, you should have realized you were out of the game with me. In this world, anyone who would threaten me, Sincere Clark, hasn't been born yet. Besides, I already gave you one chance. It's just that you didn't cherish it." Victoria Smith scoffed. "Sincere Clark, our marriage was never a game like ordinary people's marriages. How can you just divorce when you feel like it? You can ask the elders in both families and see if they agree. Don't worry, I'll make them agree." I couldn't be bothered to look at her much longer. I went straight back to the room to pack my things. Victoria Smith came over to stop me. "Sincere Clark, I won't let you leave this house." After saying that, she held on to me tightly, preventing me from leaving. She was no longer the treasure in my palm, and I was no longer going to be polite to her. Grabbing the back of her neck, I threw her onto the bed and left without looking back. Chapter 8. In the Clark family living room, I discussed my impending divorce from Victoria Smith with my parents. My parents, having heard the whole story, were exceptionally angry. "This is outrageous. The tramp from the Smith family dares to bully my son. If that old geezer Arthur Smith hadn't used the family alliance arranged by our fathers to pressure me back then, there's no way I would have agreed to your marriage. Divorce this marriage must end." My parents' reaction was both within and beyond my expectations. After all, I am a Clark, and the spine of a Clark child never bends. "What about the joint company with the Smith family?" My mother smiled knowingly. "My silly child, your father is an old hand at this. Even with an alliance, you have to be wary of the Smith family. Who knew if Victoria Smith truly loved you? Now it seems clear she's unfaithful. Don't worry, the interests of both families are clearly separated. It's more accurate to say that without the Clark family, it's the Smith family who will lose out. Go ahead and divorce with confidence. My parents had always supported everything I did, sparing no effort. They were my greatest confidence. That same evening, my parents sent a notice to the Smith family, requesting them to come to the Clark family home the next day to discuss the children's divorce. Arthur Smith called over 30 times, like a frantic chain call. At first, my father refused to answer, and later he simply blocked the number. Early the next morning, Arthur and Eleanor Smith dragged Victoria Smith to our door to beg for forgiveness. They furiously slapped Victoria Smith across the face repeatedly in front of me. Watching the bruised and swollen Victoria Smith, I only felt amusement. Arthur Smith asked me, "Son-in-law, has your anger subsided? If not, we'll keep slapping her." I stopped them. After all, this was at the Clark family home. If someone died here, our home would become notorious. I regained my composure. The divorce is non-negotiable. It must happen, seeing how resolute I was. My father also began the reckoning. Since the marriage of the two children has reached its end, I announce that starting today, the Clark family will withdraw all investments from the Smith family. Our joint company will also be liquidated effective immediately, and the assets will be distributed according to equity proportions. Old Clark, do you have to be so absolute? Our Clark and Smith families are old acquaintances. If you do this, won't it completely sever the ties between the two families since the gloves were off? My father wasn't going to be polite. Arthur Smith, look at what the Smith family has become under your charge. Are you worthy of your father and your daughter? My son is 1,000, 10,000 times better than her. He kept trying to help her, and she still caused problems for him over a bastard child. Don't you dare talk about old acquaintances with me. Your Smith family is not worthy. Manager Davis, escort them out. The house manager, accompanied by bodyguards, threw the 3 members of the Smith family out. I heard that same night Victoria Smith was kicked out of the house by her father, and after severing their father-daughter relationship, whether she lived or died had nothing to do with the Smith family. I had someone deliver the divorce agreement to Victoria Smith, timing it perfectly. She tore it up on the spot. Victoria Smith, I advise you to be sensible, sign it honestly, or I'll make you leave with nothing. After saying that, I hung up the phone. Chapter 9. A few days later, Victoria Smith came to the company with Daniel Miller to see me. Victoria Smith gave me an awkward smile. "Honey, I know everything now." Daniel Miller was lying. He said he broke his own legs by hitting them with something, and then blamed it on you. He feels he owes you an apology and came specifically to see you. He even said he'll accept any punishment you deem fit, as long as you forgive him. Daniel Miller was trembling beside her. At this moment, my disgust for Victoria Smith grew even stronger. "Daniel Miller, if I forgive you, are you willing to do anything?" Daniel Miller looked at me in fright and nodded. "Yes, Mr. Clark." I smiled. "The pork industry is booming lately. Our Clark family has just opened a new pig breeding farm, and we're short-handed. You can go there and feed the pigs." Daniel Miller's eyes widened. I figured before Victoria Smith brought him here, she must have brainwashed him into believing I would only yell a few times and wouldn't impose any significant punishment. "This is the contract. Sign it," Victoria Smith urged from the side. "Sign it. What are you hesitating about? Sign it now." Amidst the urging, Daniel Miller pursed his lips and signed the contract. Olivia Forrester took the contract. "Daniel Miller, come with me. There's a car going to the farm right now. You can start immediately." Daniel Miller glanced at Victoria Smith. "Go on, you've signed the contract. Why are you still looking at me?" As soon as they left, Victoria Smith asked me coaxingly, "Honey, has your anger subsided now?" At this moment, I completely saw through this woman. Thinking back on all our past interactions made me feel instantly nauseated. I couldn't wait to get this divorce. "The divorce agreement, sign it." Victoria Smith completely broke down. "Sincere Clark, you're determined to divorce me, aren't you?" "That's right, it must happen," she sighed. "All right, I'll divorce you, but give me an extra 1.4 million. Ridiculous. If it were yesterday, maybe I would have agreed. Now, she didn't deserve it." I tapped on the table. "Victoria Smith, if you want to continue making a living in a city, You'd better not say things like that to me giving you an extra $10. I'd feel I was insulting money, because you're not worthy before I change my mind and make you leave with nothing. You better show some gratitude and sign it." Victoria Smith was furious but dared not speak. Outside, Olivia Forrester stood with a line of bodyguards in black behind her. Victoria Smith gritted her teeth and signed. That same day, we went to the registry office and registered for divorce. 30 days later, without any surprise, I received the divorce certificate. Chapter 10. Coming out of the registry office hall, I saw Olivia Forrester waving at me from afar. Before getting in the car, she specifically indicated that she would drive. In the time I closed my eyes for a moment, we had already arrived at an amusement park. Around this time last year, I had casually mentioned wanting to go to an amusement park. I hadn't played much there as a child, and for some reason I wanted to go as an adult. But I had been busy afterwards and never made it. Olivia Forrester, you actually remembered. Riding the roller coaster in the pirate ship, the unpleasant matters were instantly left behind. My mood improved significantly. I couldn't help but close my eyes, enjoying the rare moment of freedom. When I opened my eyes again, I saw Olivia Forrester taking pictures of me. I held out my hand. "Let me see." Olivia Forrester handed me her phone. To my surprise, I found she was incredibly good at taking photos. In every picture, I looked particularly good, which made me keep scrolling down. Suddenly, a photo of me working caught my eye. Curiously, I continued to scroll down, only to discover that her phone was full of pictures of me. Olivia Forrester quickly retrieved her phone. These are my... She couldn't finish her sentence for a long while. She decided not to make up an excuse and told me directly. "Sincere Clark, I like you." I froze. "You just need to know. You don't have to feel pressured to answer me." In fact, I should have realized it earlier. The Forrester family had been developing rapidly like a breaking tide in recent years, and Olivia Forrester, as the eldest daughter of the family, had been willing to stay by my side as my secretary. What was she after? Was she after the high secretary salary? But the Forrester family certainly didn't need that small salary. I nodded. "Olivia Forrester, I will seriously consider it. Give me some time." Chapter 11. A few days later, I heard that Victoria Smith had registered and established a company. Olivia Forrester asked if I wanted to send her a gift. I had thought about it. When I was most angry, I had gritted my teeth and said I would make her pay. But now I disdained making any moves behind the scenes. After all, watching her self-destruct was more satisfying. It just required some time. As expected, in less than a year, Victoria Smith had lost her entire fortune, becoming a completely penniless nobody. When Olivia Forrester told me about it, my face showed no ripple of emotion, because it was something I had anticipated. Having been with her for so many years, I had long seen through her capabilities. It was just that she was born into the Smith family and then married into the Clark family. So from birth, she stood at a height many people couldn't reach even after a lifetime of struggle, and with my help later, her career went further. All these illusions seemed to have blinded her heart, making her believe she was capable. Yet she was just a pretty face, and in reality, completely useless. "You guessed this would happen, didn't you?" Olivia Forrester asked with a smile. I nodded. This outcome was without suspense. "Then let me tell you something you didn't guess. After losing all her savings, she went to find Daniel Miller. Victoria Smith had tricked the inexperienced Daniel Miller into working at the pig farm back then. Now that she had nothing, she shamelessly went to Daniel Miller to ask for money. Her reason was that everything she had today was lost because of him, so Daniel Miller had to be responsible for her. But Daniel Miller's family was like a bunch of leeches. Mr. and Mrs. Miller didn't have proper jobs, and their younger son was idle. The whole family relied on the meager money Daniel Miller earned from farming pigs to live. Suddenly, someone came out asking Daniel Miller for money. How could his family agree? Daniel Miller's brother brought a group of thugs to find Victoria Smith and started punching and kicking her. One of them wasn't paying attention and kicked Victoria Smith in the back of the head. causing her to faint on the spot. She was rushed to the hospital and rescued, but became a vegetative state. The Smith family immediately decided to abandon treatment and retrieved her from the ICU. The reason the Smith family could so resolutely cut ties with Victoria Smith back then was directly related to her stepmother, who had a son. She had long wanted Victoria Smith gone and seized the opportunity to influence Arthur Smith. After Victoria Smith was released from the hospital, she passed away less than a month later. I felt a little sigh of regret. At her funeral, I had someone send a wreath as her final send-off. Chapter 12. Another year of spring, flowers in bloom. Olivia Forrester's flower field was particularly beautiful this year. I held Olivia Forrester's hand and walked into the flower field. As she was lost in the beauty of nature, I took out a diamond ring and knelt on one knee. Olivia Forrester, will you marry me? So many years of quiet companionship were enough to prove a sincere heart. She didn't rush to extend her hand, only asking, will you be hiring a new secretary? I feigned great surprise and asked back, you, my first secretary, don't want to be my secretary anymore? Olivia Forrester's smile was brilliant, more beautiful than the flowers. She extended her left hand and I quickly slipped the ring onto her finger, securing my happiness.